3 weeks after Fotis Dulos was charged in the murder of his ex-wife Jennifer, he died by suicide.
They could see through a window that Mr. Dulos was sitting in his vehicle, and he had obvious signs of medical distress.
Now, Michelle Troconis faces trial for conspiracy to commit the murder of her boyfriend's estranged wife, Jennifer Dulos. She's pled not guilty of the charges and claims she was unaware of what Fotis was doing the day Jennifer disappeared. Now, the victim's family hopes that this trial could shed new light on locating Jennifer's body.
In January 2023, the long-awaited murder and conspiracy trial of Michelle Troconis began to determine whether Michelle Troconis was involved in the killing of her lover's estranged wife, Jennifer Dulos. Jennifer Dulos was last seen alive in May 2019 as she waved her children off to school in New Canaan. And while her body has never been found, she has been officially declared dead. What happened to Jennifer Dulos, who had a hand in her disappearance and death? Stick with us as we dive deeper into the case and analyze all evidence that has been revealed in the trial so far. The police have since ruled that Jennifer Dulos died in a violent way at the hands of her estranged husband, Fotis Dulos. Before her disappearance, the two were engrossed in a very messy divorce, which was filed 2 years earlier. Fotis Dulos was arrested as the prime suspect in the crime, but was released on a $6 million bond at some point. By January of 2020, he killed himself, an act which many are convinced was a proud and twisted way of taking his sins to his grave. Nobody knows what happened to Jennifer Dulos, and her body has never been recovered. Well, it appears as if nobody does, because 2 other people connected to the crime have yet to confess anything to move the case forward. The girlfriend of Fotis Dulos, Michelle Troconis, as well as an attorney friend of his, Kent Mahoney, have been arrested and charged in connection to the case, and both insist they are innocent of the charges against them.
Pulls that out. What does that look like to you?
A bag?
What's the red stuff?
Blood.
It's blood. And that's Jennifer's blood. And that's a pillow from her garage that's missing. So you need to start being honest with us about
I don't know anything about that pillow.
About where Fotis was in the morning, okay?
Okay.
Your life with Fotis is over.
No, I know.
Okay?
I know.
From this point forward, your life with Fotis is over. It's done. You need to think about your daughter.
No, yes, of course.
This is your time. You're definitely not being fully honest with us, and I want you to be fully honest with us.
Till date, Michelle Troconis insists she did not know Fotis was doing anything illegal, as she watched him toss garbage bags into random bins. Even when asked about the alibi scripts, she insists that she only helped him write up a timeline of their whereabouts on the day his estranged wife disappeared because a lawyer had advised them to do so. Before his death, Fotis Dulos had claimed that his divorce attorney instructed him to write down everything he and Michelle had done on the 24, the day Jennifer disappeared, and the day after that being the 25 there. According to court documents, it was a play-by-play of every single thing they had done. While this on its own may not have raised any red flags, the fact that his story and that of Michelle Troconis were later found to have discrepancies and missing details was the bright red indicator. One very damning thing about the alibi script was that it did not contain any mention of dumping trash along Albany Avenue. It was as if everything incriminating was not included in the script, and this entirely defeated the purpose of the script. You see, if Fotis wasn't guilty, or Michelle herself really did not know Fotis had done something wrong, surely she would have brought up Albany Avenue rather than waiting for the police to bring it to her attention.
This was like on Sunday. This is the weekend when we write the time.
Right, so you're writing the timeline that you saw Fotis in the morning, you guys took a shower together, you guys had breakfast, and in this interview today, you haven't seen him.
These discrepancies will certainly be used against her in court. The state will try to poke holes in her credibility and do whatever it takes to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she is guilty of the charges against her. Contrary to her claims, authorities believe that these actions were taken as preemptive measures to cover up the killing of Jennifer Dulos. The authorities maintain that Jennifer Dulos was unfortunately attacked at her home on 24th of May 2019 after dropping their 5 children off at school and returning home. Now more than 4 years later, 49-year-old Michelle Troconis is facing trial in Stamford on charges of conspiracy to commit murder, evidence tampering, and hindering prosecution. She has entered a not guilty plea and maintains she does not know what happened to Jennifer or where her body might be. According to the investigators, there was a shift in Michelle Troconis' body language once they began to mention that they had footage from surveillance cameras and were also able to retrieve the bags that Fotis Dulos had thrown out on Albany Avenue. At some point during the initial interrogations, Michelle argued that she had accompanied Fotis on that ride, but was not totally aware of what he was doing. She explained that it was not strange of him to go on that sort of errand, so she never suspected he was disposing of some sort of evidence.
Nobody in the world believes that you didn't know what was going on, what was not, what he was doing when he was throwing out. There's no way you weren't asking, what are we doing, what is this stuff? This is abnormal. This is abnormal behavior.
Okay, why are we no, can I explain? We've done this in the past. We throw garbage. We've done it for Canaan pond. I've done it in Canaan.
Michelle Troconis also claimed that she had only come on that ride because she wanted to get coffee from Starbucks and that she was mostly on her phone for most of the ride. As you can imagine, the defense has their work cut out for them if they intend to run with this narrative. It just doesn't seem likely that she was too engrossed in her phone and never asked what Fotis was disposing of and why he was making different stops to do so. Representing the state would be Michelle Manning, the supervisory assistant state attorney, and Cian McGuinness, the assistant state attorney. These two have expressed their determination to fight to get justice for Jennifer Dulos. For the defense, attorney John Schoenhorn will be representing Michelle Troconis. Overseeing the trial would be Honorable Judge Kevin Randolph. Now, let us run through the key revelations from the trial so far. Footage played in court on the first day of the trial showed law enforcement officers searching Jennifer's home in New Canaan after she was reported missing. During the trial, prosecutors presented footage from inside Jennifer's home on the night she disappeared. It was an hour-long footage that gives you this eerie feeling as the officers silently navigated through rooms and inspected the cabinets, doors, and closets with flashlights. The video captured an officer taking a photo of the children on the wall, potentially aiding the investigation. All of this culminated in a focus on the garage because they finally found evidence of foul play.
A lot of brand new evidence in the case, a lot of which has not been seen until now. Most of that was video evidence from Jennifer Dulos' Wells Lane home in New Canaan the night of May 24, 2019, when Jennifer went missing. Jurors were shown body camera video from one of the officers who responded to the initial missing persons report, which was called in by Jennifer Dulos' babysitter, Lauren Almeida, and Jennifer's friend, Laurel Watts. They told police that Jennifer was going through a divorce with a man who had threatened her in the past and owns a gun. The officers were given access to the home, and you can see them going room by room before ending up in the garage, where they're recorded on that body-worn video of seeing what appeared to be blood-like stains and substances found on and around Jennifer's Range Rover. We will dig in a little bit more to that in just a moment. The trial began with the judge.
A dive inside Jennifer Dulos' New Canaan home, seen through body camera from May 24th, 2019, the night she was reported missing.
Well, it's just strange in connection with the fact that we've got a missing person.
The responding officer, Lieutenant Aaron LaTourette with the New Canaan Police Department, the first witness in the trial against Michelle Troconis.
We are looking for Jennifer Dulos, the missing person.
The police scour the home for the missing mother of 5, but find no one, only what they believe to be blood on the front of an SUV parked in the garage.
What appeared to be red blood on the front of that vehicle.
The officers observed a black Range Rover SUV with blood-like substances on the grille and driver's side. At some point, the video zoomed in on a faint reddish footprint and other blood-like smears on the concrete floor. Bodycam footage revealed that during this search, the police officers spotted what appeared to be blood spatter and a cleaned-up bloodstain inside Jennifer Dulos' garage on the day she was last seen alive. The officers can clearly be seen analyzing what they perceived to be evidence on the front of her vehicle in the garage. New Canaan Police Lieutenant Aaron LaTourette was one of. the reporting officers, and he testified that he noticed what appeared to be red blood in the front of that vehicle. To corroborate this story, the footage played in court shows La Tourette and the other officer going back and forth over the red mark in the grille part of the vehicle. They first assumed it may have been as a result of the car hitting a deer, but the absence of fur drew their attention to the fact that something far more sinister than that had taken place, and it had happened in that very garage. From the footage played in court, the jurors got a glimpse of the red specks on the concrete floor and a pinkish-reddish area that looked smeared, as if someone had cleaned a large bloodstain.
Body cam video here presented yesterday during the trial is where New Canaan police officers first see Jennifer's Range Rover in the garage on that home on Wells Lane. Officers aren't sure really anything at this point of anything, or that Jennifer is even really missing. They've just gotten a call from her babysitter, from her friend, that they haven't heard from her that day. But what gets their attention is what they call blood-like substances on the grille of that vehicle, as well as the bumper and rear fender. And they eventually find other red stains in the garage, including the garage floor, wall, and door. First, we're going to play you a part of testimony from New Canaan Police Lieutenant Aaron La Tourette, who describes what they saw and what they were thinking, and the part of that body cam video that depicts those moments. Take a look here.
I looked at the vehicle and noticed that there was what appeared to be red blood on the front of that vehicle.
Can you please describe what you saw?
A red mark on the grille area of the vehicle. And again, it drew my attention because it didn't match the color of the grille, didn't match the color of the vehicle.
Was there any damage to the vehicle?
No, we did not. We looked at the vehicle, did not observe any damage. Initially, Officer Blank and myself discussed it possibly could be a deer strike. It could be a deer.
It was wiped at some point, but dried first. Dry edges, what's that? Yeah, when he was called in, he had a lot of stuff out. There's some back here too. Is there? Yeah, down here too. Strange. It's like a pattern here. You know what I mean? It's clothing. Right, not fur. But it's up here too. It's hard to get any of this. These cameras are. We should get better cameras. Hopefully this is getting it though. Right?
The defense came up to debunk the bloodstain theories and even went as far as calling all of it junk science. Michelle Troconis' attorney took aim at everything that was presented by the state as blood evidence in the conspiracy murder trial. The defense attorney reminded the judge that the process of testing for blood is questionable and not as reliable as detectives try to make it out to be. According to the defense, the science of the substance used to illuminate blood could also be used to illuminate certain types of cleansers or rust, and this was why they chose to term it junk science. In his own words, what you have to understand is that the Supreme Court of Connecticut has said that chemicals are so unreliable that they have no value to put into a case. The detective tasked with taking samples from Jennifer Dulos' car and garage doesn't need to talk about a chemical that is basically junk science. Contrary to the argument from the defense, the judge ruled in favor that the state prosecutors could bring in evidence about presumptive blood testing before the jurors. Retired Connecticut State Police Jeet Matthew Riley, who responded to the scene and was present when the photos were taken, took the stand in the afternoon and told the court that a blood-like stain had been found on the inside cardboard of a paper towel roll. To corroborate this testimony, the jurors were also shown photos of what appeared to be blood on the paper towel roll, as well as on the floor of Jennifer's garage. It was also established in court that the floor mat of Jennifer Dulos' black Chevy Suburban that was abandoned on Lapham Road was missing. This came to light as part of the testimony by Jeet Jamie Pierston from the Major Crimes Unit of Connecticut State Police. She recalled that the vehicle lacked a floor mat in the trunk, which was odd because similar mats were present at the front and back seats. During her testimony, she detailed the processing of the vehicle. She recalled the mileage of the SUV as well as the damage done to it and other personal items retrieved from the vehicle. Outside the courthouse, Michelle Troconis' family staunchly defended her innocence. Carlos Troconis, her father, emphasized the significance of the day and expressed confidence in a fair trial outcome. He proclaimed Michelle's innocence and stated their trust that the process would end in a favorable result for their family.
Side of court for day one, maintaining her innocence.
On behalf of my daughter, who we know that she's innocent, we are trusting this fair trial, and I hope the result will be favorable for everybody.
Claudia Troconis Marmol, Michelle's sister, affirmed the family's unity and ongoing support throughout the trial. A statement released by a spokesperson for Jennifer's family read in part, as this trial begins, "It is crucial to remember who is at the center, Jennifer, whose 5 children have lost their mother, and eventually both parents. We do not seek closure, as nothing can bring Jennifer back. We hope that this trial provides for accountability and answers." The trial for Michelle Troconis continued Wednesday, 17th of January, with a lengthy testimony from the longtime nanny of Jennifer and Fotis Dulos' 5 children, as she detailed the final years of their contentious marriage. The Dulos family nanny, Lauren Almeida, was questioned by Assistant State's Attorney Sean McGuinness on the relationship between Jennifer and Fotis Dulos and the events leading up to the day Jennifer Dulos disappeared. In her response, Almeida went through a series of events detailing what she described as a tense and, at times, scary dynamic in the marriage. The timeline for this progression was from March 2017, when Jennifer Dulos first discovered her husband was having an affair, to when she disappeared on May 24, 2019. According to Almeida, Jennifer Dulos told her that she had confirmed her husband had been cheating on her sometime in March 2017. Jennifer Dulos had reportedly gone through her husband's emails and discovered he traveled with a woman named Michelle Troconis to Colorado. And when Jennifer confronted Fotis about the affair, he brazenly admitted to it. Almeida also testified that Jennifer's first instinct was to salvage what she could from their marriage and move forward for the sake of the kids, but Fotis was not forthcoming. And because of that, things got more tense and uncomfortable in the Farmington home. She recalled how Fotis would often chase Jennifer around the house in anger, and how she subsequently began to help Jennifer move things out of the house in fear.
One of the kids' rooms, and we were just doing a puzzle together, where all of a sudden, we started to hear screaming, and Jennifer ran through the bedroom door. I don't believe that she knew that we were in there, but she ran through the door. Fotis was yelling. I'm not sure what he was yelling, and she closed the door behind her and pushed her body up against the door, and he was trying to get in. And her face was just, she was terrified, and she saw that myself and her daughter were there, and to be honest, I kind of froze because I didn't know what to do. And then when he pushed the door more, he saw that his daughter and myself were in there, and his demeanor totally changed.
Jennifer was careful to start with the little things he would not notice were missing until the day she could actually take the kids out of the house. Almeida explained that Jennifer lived in constant fear of Fotis taking the kids to Greece and never seeing them again. She added that it took a physical toll on Jennifer and that she began to lose weight. Almeida did not just provide context on the dynamic in the Dulos' strained marriage, she also provided the court with important information about things that seemed strange about Jennifer Dulos' new Canaan home the day she disappeared. Apparently, a couple of days before the disappearance, she had thoroughly cleaned the garage of the Wells Lane home. While cleaning and reorganizing the garage, she recalled how she had placed the Dulos children's camping gear on shelving in the garage. She also noted that she had left a bucket with cleaning supplies in the garage.
Also shown photos of the garage taken by state police. She testified that when she cleaned the garage 2 days before, some camping pillows were on these racks you see here where they stored equipment, but then they were missing in these photos. We later heard about a bloody pillow found in the evidence allegedly dumped on Albany Avenue in Hartford. Almeida also testified that a bucket of cleaning supplies was typically stored in the garage, but in state police photos, that bucket was missing.
But to her surprise, when police investigators asked her to review pictures of the home in the wake of the disappearance, she noticed that the cleaning bucket was no longer where she had placed it in the garage. She also noted that some of the contents were on the floor. Even the fact that some of the Dulos children's camping pillows were missing from where she had placed them were all damning signs. She reminded the court of her earlier testimony in May 2019 about the missing paper towels. She maintained that she had restocked the home's pantry with a 12-pack of paper towels. However, when she returned to the home the next day, she found that only 2 of the rolls remained.
The paper towel roll was empty, so I went in the pantry to go grab another one and noticed that there were only 2 rolls of paper towels left, which was odd to me because the night before I just put 12 rolls in there. But again, I thought maybe the kids spilled something and they used a lot of paper towels.
Almeida also told investigators that Jennifer Dulos' Chevy Suburban always had a rubber mat in the rear cargo area. She testified that the only time it was taken out was for cleaning and that it was typically always put back in. That mat, however, was missing when police found the vehicle abandoned and were never able to recover it. Moving on to January 18, the trial for Michelle Troconis continued. Kristen Medell, an analyst with the State Forensic Science Lab, testified in court. And most of her testimony pointed towards the fact that something happened to Jennifer Dulos in that garage. Medell confirmed that more than a dozen of the swabs taken from those stains had DNA that was 100 billion times more likely to have come from the same DNA that was found on Jennifer Dulos' electric toothbrush. She also confirmed that Fotis Dulos' DNA was found in the house. A blood-like stain found on the force spout in the kitchen contained DNA belonging to Jennifer and Fotis Dulos.
The 20-year veteran of the State Forensic Laboratory was able to break down some of the results of some of the DNA. Medell testified that swabs collected from a faucet and the mudroom doorknob of Jennifer's New Canaan home were consistent with Fotis Dulos' DNA profile.
Assuming 2 contributors, the DNA profile from item 5S1 is at least 4.3 billion times more likely to occur if it originated from Fotis Dulos and 1 unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unknown individuals. Michelle Troconis is eliminated as a contributor to the DNA profile from item 5S1.
On the 19th of January, the judge dismissed a juror in the trial following reports from another panelist that said the juror had likened the case to the novel and movie Gone Girl.
Court received is not dated, it is not signed, it was handed to the court by the marshal moments ago. It reads, one of the jurors discussed something about the case, and it was all over social media. Said it was like Gone Girl. A brief mention. Several other jurors said, don't discuss this.
Judge Kevin Randolph had apparently received an unsigned note from a juror in the trial of Michelle Troconis Friday morning, and this note accused another member of the panel of making the comment in the presence of other jurors. The juror had discussed something about the case and recalled how it was all over social media. Other jurors had cautioned the juror and warned that they were not allowed to discuss such things, but one juror must have come forward. Judge Randolph then cleared the courtroom to question jurors about the comment and ultimately dismissed the juror, identified as Juror 186. Every other juror then expressed that they would be able to afford the state and defense a fair and impartial trial going forward.
By the marshal moments ago. It reads, one of the jurors discussed something about the case, and it was all over social media. Said it was like Gone Girl. A brief mention. Several other jurors said, don't discuss this. Have this marked as a court exhibit.
Gone Girl, a 2012 novel by Gillian Flynn that was turned into a 2014 film starring Ben Affleck, is about a woman who fakes her own disappearance and leaves behind traces of her blood and a concocted diary full of lies just so her cheating husband would become a suspect in her presumed murder, and most notably in a state that allows the death penalty. Gone Girl has one of the most chilling and sinister plots in thriller history, and having the sentiment that it is similar to this case automatically means you would not be objective. Weeding that jury out is commendable, one of the best things to happen if there is to be any hope of justice. The Michelle Troconis case is expected to last for 6 weeks, and we are certain that more evidence would come to light before it is done. What are your thoughts so far?